This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on this Tuesday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com. We are live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, just off of McFarland Boulevard, past the Tiger Rock on the left, right here in Northport. We are so excited to have another day with you guys. You are watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, at Joe Gaither 6, or you are listening to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon, the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Wherever you get your favorite podcast, you can find the show right there. And we're trying to get back to normal. Today. We did not do a show yesterday, but we did do a show yesterday. We recorded, so it's been a minute since I've been in the studio. We recorded Sunday with our friend Jenna Cleary, and you can check out that episode if you want to hear her join me on Sunday, where we talked a lot about the Alabama and LSU game. We're going to continue. Well, we're going to wrap up that discussion. We're going to wrap up that discussion today because the fallout fell all the way out and settled and is now done. I mean, we're done with this. Mic drop on it. Yeah, we're done with all the drama. We need to put a big old bow on it. And then we're going to talk about the Senior Bowl. And then we're going to talk about Bill Connolly's best games in college football this year. What did you think was the best game in college football this year? Was Alabama participating in any of the best games this year? Where would you put Alabama's win over Georgia? Where would you put what other great wins? Not really very many great wins. So where would you put out? I mean, that South Carolina win turned out to be a pretty big win, sure. Right? The blowout at LSU, that should be on your radar as well. So we'll talk about Alabama's best games of the year and what the college football world considered the best games of the year as well. You can comment on the show at Joe Gaither 6. We've got a lot of people who like to do that on Facebook, who do that on Twitter as well, and you can be part of the show. Look, now that all the craziness is an intro is out of the way, I'll shake the cobwebs out. Long drive last night from Atlanta back to Tuscaloosa after Monday Night Raw. I'm just trying to put the pieces together. And here to help me put the pieces back together is my friend Mason Woods. You can follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. He's back from his excursion up north. How many Philadelphia Eagles fans did you almost fight with during your excursion up this week, Mason Woods?
Yeah, we were in Philly walking around day of the NFC Championship. Now, the timing of everything, we strategically timed it to where we tried to miss most of the crowds going in and out of the game. You know, we were kind of doing most of our moving around during the game. But it was still, I mean, I would venture a guess to say every third person probably at least had some kind of Eagles hat, shirt, gear, whatever it was. You know, like there's a lot of Philly tuxedos. I've heard that term now, where it's one team jersey and another team hat. Both Philly, you know, a Sixers hat and an Eagles jersey, a Sixers jersey, Philly's hat, something like that.
Okay,
a Philly tuxedo.
Okay, yeah, I like that term.
Yeah, I think it's good. Honestly, for all the crap I've heard about Philly and how mean their people are, it's pretty cool on it. I didn't really see too many overly rowdy Eagles fans. Now, I think that was just because they dog walked the Commanders on Sunday.
And you weren't wearing your Commanders gear either.
No, I did not. I was not telling everyone, hey, Jaden Daniels is my quarterback. I love Jaden Daniels. No,
HTTR. HTTR.
No, but I mean, you know, there was not many moments where I got to see any Philly fans get overly angry. I think there was one play early. I think it was a fumble. I think Jalen Hurts fumbled maybe right early in the game, if I remember right. And you heard some words get tossed out there. But
they weren't using any racial slurs.
No, definitely not. No, genuinely not.
Okay, good.
Now, we were in a very public place, so take that as you will. But I mean, they didn't have a lot to be upset about on Sunday. The Eagles, like I said, completely just washed the Commanders out. It was bad. You know, from the start, I don't really think that game was ever Saquon. He 60-yard touchdown on the first offensive play of the game. From there, it was like I don't think it was ever even really in question.
You want to talk real quick, like the microcosm of that single play? The Philadelphia Eagles fans and the anti-Jalen Hurts fans are all up in arms because they come to the line of scrimmage for that play, right? We're in shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen walks up to the line of scrimmage. It looks like he's audibling. It looks like he's changing a play. And Saquon walks up to him, and whatever he says, it looks like Jalen changed back to the original play. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
They got to the right play. They got to the right play.
Sure.
60-yard touchdown, you're in the end zone. Well, people are taking this. Well, Jalen almost checked them out of a touchdown play. This mother, he doesn't know. He doesn't, blah, 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 blah. He almost checked them out
You're
of
in the Super Bowl.
It's like, dude, like,
stop trying to find things to complain about. You're in the Super Bowl.
It's a team effort. And like if quarterback thinks he saw something, hey, we're gonna check red, whatever. And running back's like, hey man, I think we need to go back to black, or whatever the case may be. And he's like, all right, man, it's first down. We can go back to black. It's fine. We can run it. We can kill, run it as is, kill. And then okay, like quit complaining. It's like a 60-yard. He threw like eight commanders off of him as well.
Yeah, it's just no. I mean, they're gonna find absolutely everything they can find, I guess, to complain about, even when the going's good. That's probably where the complaints about Philly fans start to come in, is when you hear things like that from people. And I definitely heard some scattered conversations, the Jalen Hurts discourse around the bar we were sitting in. You hear people talking about it, but. All that to say, I saw probably 15 Jalen Hurts jerseys on Sunday walking around through the streets of Philly. Definitely saw more Hurts jerseys than I did Saquon. I'm sure they love Saquon, but Hurts has been the guy for a few years now. I don't think they've fully turned on him. I mean,
it was just a microcosm.
Yeah, it's such a that's such a nitpicky thing. I still, we've talked about Jalen Hurts on the show and whether or not we think he is like an elite NFL quarterback, and I still think he is. I still don't know that he's at that level of maybe the guy he's going to be playing against, Patrick Mahomes. I think Saquon has really unlocked this team and allowed them to do a lot more this year. But that goes both ways. The Eagles have also allowed Saquon to do a lot more this year because they're so good. So, it works both ways here.
The works both ways thing is something that I wish people would understand, because last offseason, my Bear fan friends, we need to throw $20 million at Saquon Barkley. And then they ended up throwing 8 at DeAndre Swift, 8 over 3 years, or 12 over 3 years. And they're like, Swift's fine. But now that the year's over, they're like, we should have ponied up we would have been we
would have been in the Super Bowl. Don't you realize Saquon's in the Super Bowl? Come on, Joe. It's very simple. It's right there in front of you.
It's like, what offensive line do you think he's running behind in Chicago, you idiots?
Yeah.
It's the Philadelphia offensive line.
It's just it's like it is a generational offensive line. It will go down in the history of the NFL as one of the best units probably ever.
I would like a Landon Dickerson on my team. I would like a backup Tyler Steen on my team.
Yeah, it looked like he was fighting Cam Jurgens to stay in the game and that on Sunday, which is, if you're going to have sideline conflicts, that's a pretty good reason for guys to be fighting, with your starter fighting the backup to keep him on the bench so that he can stay out there and fight through some pain. That's a pretty good thing, a pretty good problem.
So you had a good time?
I did. I had a pretty good time. I ate a lot of good food.
Let's get the cheesesteak review. What was it? Did you go to is it Pat's and Geno's?
No,
those are the two number one.
We went to
take it away.
Yeah, we went to this place. It was the Reading Terminal Market, which, as I understand, is a somewhat of a touristy kind of thing.
Cool, great.
It's basically just like a giant food court, crap ton of various local cuisines to choose from. And, we're walking around kind of doing our thing. And the plan was always, we got to go and get a cheesesteak from somewhere.
Get my fat boy on.
We're talking to somebody and he kind of, he tells us, the real best place is go over here, but it's on the other side. You got to walk, whatever. And he's like, but this place in here gets their bread from there. So if I was going to recommend one, I'd go there. So we, moseyed ourselves right over. I paid $15 for a cheesesteak, which was a little more than I would have maybe liked to pay for a cheesesteak, but it was worth every penny I paid. It was fantastic.
Good.
Absolutely excellent. Oh, it was so good.
Good.
We got some. Let's see. We walked over to a little dim sum place a little later and got some dumplings. That was really, really good.
Would that be an Asian cuisine that I'm not
Yes.
dim sum?
It's just like appetizers, basically.
Okay.
It's,
All right. Great.
Dumplings, little small.
I do love me some
entree,
dumplings.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got some spicy pork soup dumplings and some just normal soup dumpling. They were very, very good. I had a good time. Philly was
Did you
neat.
see Rocky Balboa?
No, I didn't actually see the Rocky statue.
That's like really close, like all the madness, I'm sure.
I think so, yeah, because we were gonna go a little closer to it, and then thought about it, and it was like, I don't.
We
think
didn't
it's
want to
worth
put
getting all down
Melissa
there.
into any dangerous situations with some Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Did go see the Liberty Bell. As underwhelming as most people say it is.
It's tiny, isn't it?
It is
comparatively.
It's a pretty small bell. I truly, my entire life, have thought it was much larger than it actually is. Yeah, no, it's like I could probably hug it and wrap my arms around it. It's not that big.
3 of us could probably carry it across somewhere.
I feel pretty confident. Yeah.
So Mason's back from New Jersey, Philadelphia. I am back from Monday Night Raw. Mason, I recorded Sunday because I knew we weren't going to be here together Monday. And I knew we needed to have a reaction to the LSU game. And, of course, like we needed to blah, blah, blah. Alabama doesn't play as well, but scrapes out a victory. Blah, blah, blah. Alabama, really good second-half defense. Blah, blah, blah. Alabama didn't get it done on the boards again. LSU's length and athleticism. Whatever. Do you want to talk about the game, or do you want to focus on the actual BS so we can move on? Because the game, whatever. Oh, go take it away.
Yeah, like you said, the game, it was kind of just one of those like, this is what we've seen from Alabama. You come out, you play down to the competition, you play up certain competition, and you do. That is what they do. I guess that's their MO. But I do think, and this leads into the drama and everything associated with the game. But the benching of Mark Sears in the second half and the very, very noticeable improvement defensively. There's something to be said for that. I think you talked about it. You mentioned it on the show that, you recorded that. I think it really has more to do with just a matchup thing than anything else. Mark Sears is a smaller guard that does not have the length that a LeBaron Philon does, that an Aiden Holloway does, that a Chris Youngblood does. And you needed that against LSU. LSU was utilizing their size and length against Alabama in this game. They out-rebounded them. They were getting to the bucket. And, Mark Sears just wasn't really able to get many stops defensively. And then on top of that, he couldn't make up for it on the offensive end. He was 0 for 5. So, when you're kind of losing on both ends there, it just made sense to put him on the bench for that game. And I don't think it's anything long-term. Like, I think you said this. He will be right back in the starting lineup when they go play Mississippi State. What is it, tonight? Tomorrow, yeah.
I thought it was Tuesday, and I said that a bunch of times on Sunday, but it's tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll be right back starting lineup, probably play about 25, 30 minutes, 35 minutes even. I don't think it's really anything to be concerned with long-term. But to the drama, the comments from Mark Sears' mom that everybody wanted to bring up and discuss, it was such a nothing burger. Like, it was just, I would do the same for my child. If I had a kid out there that was trying his hardest that I knew for the last, 22 years, however old Mark Sears is, 23 maybe. He's put his heart and soul into loving basketball, and he wants nothing more than to, help the Crimson Tide, hit the team that he grew up rooting for, win. I'd probably feel some kind of way too, and I'd want to protect my kid, and I would want to go out there and stand up for it, go up to bat for him, and back him up. So, I don't think it was anything more than a mother coming to the aid of her child who was getting kind of ridiculed on social media by a lot of people who do not have any insight whatsoever into the situation, mind you.
My parents, everybody's parents used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But I think that was the phrase that they taught us as kids. But what they should have, that's a good phrase. Mm-hmm. But what they should have taught us is, if you don't know the whole picture, if you don't know the full story, then don't say anything at all either. None of us, well, not none of us, somebody who was in the locker room might be watching now. Yeah, Mark Sears might be watching right now. Somebody who was in that locker room might be watching. But most of us were not in the locker room at halftime. No. Most of us. maybe you, the listener, and if you were, I appreciate you the most.
Come on the show and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know what was said. But like none of us were in the locker room. We only have what we saw with our eyeballs from across the court in the media section, what we saw on film, what Nate Oates has said, what we saw after the game. We saw Mark Sears' father talking to Preston Murphy for a long time after the game. But I will say that talking, not animated, talking, just nope. We're just having a discussion. Now, we're on the opposite side of the arena, so like, no, we have no idea what is said. But from the opposite side of the arena, the conversation looked like any normal conversation anyone would have, just not really animated.
Yeah.
So, people. The reason this has gone off the rails is because Nate Oates is so polarizing. Nate Oates is so polarizing. And what happened in the offseason between Aiden Holloway and Bruce Pearl, sold a dream, this, that, and the other, comes to Alabama, everybody loves him. And then you get, I'm sitting Mark Sears, Aiden has a big game. And so it becomes a perfect storm of social media hooey. Absolute hooey. Like, I don't want to curse, but just the worst curse words you can say is how dirty this is. Because Sears is sat for likely a strategic reason. Now, does he have a hard time, at least from our perspective, with that decision? It seems so.
Sure.
Okay.
I think that is totally fair to say. And to be honest, I think it's totally fair for him to have a hard time with that decision.
Yes, I've been the man for like, hey man, the last time I didn't play it was 2 years ago when I was coming off the bench, like that sort of thing. Okay, so we're here. He sat for a strategic advantage, and there may have. Well, we will leave room for a potential disagreement between Mark and Nate at halftime.
Sure.
But I'm not going to say that that's what happened because we don't know. Okay, and so then. The social media, Nate Oates turning his back on his players. Nate Oates, no loyalty. Just stupidity, absolute, just dumbness, right? Nate Oates doesn't believe in Mark Sears. He's selling Mark Sears a dream. So it's all the Auburn fans, using the
But to those the Bama fans that are interacting with it and giving it credence and continuing to talk about it as well. You're right. You're just as bad.
And then you add, so you got Auburn fans trolling.
Yes.
It's intellectual dishonesty. And so when you see this, you just ignore it. Roll your eyes out and ignore it. So that's one aspect of it that started, we're going off the rails tonight. We are going off the rails this weekend. Then you add the average Alabama basketball fan. And this is not a condemnation because I am not a basketball expert. I know more football X's and O's than I do basketball. I did rewatch the first half and note, I think Mark made a mistake there. Defense. I think Mark made it. I think about three times I wrote this. I wrote, I think that was a Mark Sears defensive mistake because I was actually looking for it. I was trying to
trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Microscope. Okay. The Alabama fans who we like basketball and we just know more points, less points. Great. And that's all you need to know. It's not a condemnation. But they say, why was Mark Sears not playing? Every time I see him,
been awesome.
Right. Every time I watch an Alabama game, Mark Sears scores 20 points or more. Of course he needs to get that. It was confusing.
Sure.
It was confusing from a media standpoint. It was confusing. Even if I were a basketball expert, I think I would have had a hard time seeing it in the moment.
I mean, yeah.
And so you're confused and so you're adding your Nate Oates intellectual dishonesty, trolling from rivals, and then just genuine curiosity. What's up with Mark Sears? We love Mark Sears. We want to know what's going on with him. Why didn't he play? Is he sick? If he's sick, we're gonna pray for him. If he rolled his ankle, we're gonna pray for him. Like, what's wrong? Genuine concern.
Yeah.
Right. And so now we're mixing trolling and genuine concern online. And what happens? A mother's emotions who has just spent, now, she knows a lot more than we do, but she also was not in the locker room.
Sure.
Okay? She's not in the locker room. She's on the sidelines. She's in the stands doing her little free throw routine and being Mrs. Mark Sears' mama. Great. We love you. She sees baby boy on the sidelines upset. and then trolling. Nate Oates doesn't care about him. Nate Oates doesn't care about him. And, well, is he okay? Is he sick? Is he injured? What's wrong? I think a lot of people on Sunday were like, Mrs. Mark Sears' mom needs to get off the internet. Yes, that was probably the right answer.
Sure.
But we have lived on the internet for how long now, Mason? 2000, 98, 96? We've lived on the internet since 2010, at least. Okay. We're conditioned to live here. We're conditioned to respond. We're conditioned to defend our own here. So, of course, she goes in and responds about, oh, I think Mark Sears didn't get a chance to finish, and it wasn't just an off night. Our shots weren't falling. And largely in her comments, I don't really think many of her comments Sunday were that nya at Nate Oates.
No.
I don't think many of her comments on Sunday were that negative about Alabama basketball. It was, I think, just frustration in the situation. Normal.
Yeah.
Your child is the subject of now 3-4 different angles of what's going on with your child. And look, this isn't my mom getting one message. And I love you, mother, but it's not my mom getting 3 messages from all 3 fans that listen to the show. This is Mark Sears' mother getting hundreds, getting maybe 1,000.
Sure. From complete strangers.
What's wrong with your son? Is Mark okay? Did Nate and Mark get in a fight?
Sure.
No.
And, a lot of those people probably mean well.
Sure.
But still, just let it be. Just let what is happening happen. If we're meant to know what's going on there, Nate Oates has a press conference at the end of every game. He's gonna let you know what's going on.
Now, he was as vague in the set. Now,
sure.
Do we think that? Let's think about that. In the press conference, he's very vague. We played the players we thought would give us the best chance to win the game, and we won the game. On the surface,
that sounds vague.
Sure, but what is he actually doing?
I don't even know I think he's telling you exactly what he did.
I think yes, but I also think he's protecting Mark Sears
sure.
by not saying, well, Mark isn't long enough to play against these jokers. Well, Mark was getting bullied off the ball. Well, Mark couldn't get into
the screen.
Right. He didn't just take a big old dump on his player for inefficiencies. He covered. Now he said, "I'll take the. I made the decision I thought would win the game, and we won the game." Well, Coach, why did you think that it would win the game? Well, because XYZ, Mark Sears wasn't the right matchup in this game. And what happens to the narrative after that? Oh my gosh, what happens to? Oh, Nate Oates says Mark isn't long enough to defend, or something dumb. Like it goes.
Bruce Pearl's burner on Twitter starts going off.
Crazy. So what? So the small fire we had this weekend, it was a small fire. Like it could have been an absolute barn. Like it could have been a bonfire. It could have really, really burned down. Like if Nate says, "Well, I sat him because." He couldn't get to the rim, or whatever the reason, the deficiency that he thought, man, this matchup isn't working, and I just don't know if he covered for him.
Yeah.
So you got no freaking issues over this. Like, it's just the internet. And look, we talked about it on Sunday, Mason. I do like the Next Round Live people. Ryan Brown has been always so nice to me. Anytime I've ever spoken to Jim Dunaway, the same thing. Always been so nice to me. E.G. McWhorter, always so kind. She was on the show during SEC Media Days. Good people, I think. That's my perception. Those are the people at that company that I know. I don't know the rest of them. And I'm not going to speak on the rest of them.
Yeah.
I just didn't love them collecting her comments. But you understand it. Because, we're in the media business, and this is now a conversation. This has now become a conversation. This is now, and so
I think that the collecting of them all into one kind of document like that, it does a little bit to maybe paint a narrative. Whereas if you see them with their associated context and with the that they weren't just rapid fire, like she's not just sitting here on her phone, It was like over the course of 2 hours, she sent these 4 Facebook comments out. So I do think that, they knew what they were doing. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna let them play dumb. Like the Next Round Live knew what they were doing by compiling these images and posting them out with the vague, whatever the cap. I don't even remember what the caption was for. I think it was just Mark Sears' mom comments on the situation on Facebook. They knew what they were getting at, but we are in the media business. A lot of people were curious as well. A lot of people responded to that and were, trying to figure out what was happening. It was a compilation of information. I just think that, maybe don't take everything at face value. Look into things a little more. Look at those timestamps a little bit. Maybe actually go to Mark Sears' mom's Facebook page yourself. Try to find out some of the things she's saying. Yeah. I'm with you. I didn't love that move, but I do get it. I understand why they did it. I see why everybody does everything, and I understand it. It's just not a move I maybe would have made.
All right, so let's put this bad boy to bed and we'll give Next Round Live credit. They did tweet out Mrs. Mark Sears' mother's follow-up statement on Monday. And that's what we're going to read right here, and that's how we're going to put this conversation to bed. Mrs. Mark Sears' mama,
the sequence shooter.
That's right. She says, so let me address the misinterpretation of what's being said to the media and fans. As a mother, while I may not agree with the decision, I recognize and respect Coach Oates and the entire Alabama coaching staff. I did not agree with the choice to keep Mark on the bench for the entire second half, but I fully understand that in sports, especially at this level, these moments happen, and we all learn and grow from them. Mark didn't perform poorly, my opinion. Sometimes shots don't fall, but every player deserves a chance to regain their rhythm. Regarding personal moments that have been shared, I want to clarify that Mark's emotions on the bench was a reflection of his own passion and commitment to his teammates. We are proud of how he continues to handle these moments with maturity and focus. Mark and his teammates have put in blood, sweat, and tears into the success of this program. He is not an entitled individual. He understands the value of hard work and strong work and a strong work ethic because of who we are as his. He's not an entitled individual. He understands the value of hard work and a strong work ethic because of who we are as his parents have instilled that in him. If you know anything about Mark Sears, you would know that. To all his supporters and true fans, your support means the world to us. At the end of the day, we are family. We go through adversity, but we pull together when it matters most. Mark is committed to improving every day and is focused on supporting his teammates in whatever way he can. We remain confident that with hard work and determination, the best is truly yet to come. Also, please understand that I am his mother, and he will always be my son, period, even when the ball stops bouncing. So many people miss that.
Oh.
What has been misinterpreted as disrespect is simply a mother's love and a level of protection. I will always be that mom. Now, let's continue on the road of winning the national championship. Thank you for understanding and continued prayers, support. Hashtag, all this stuff.
That second to last paragraph is like the perfect summation of this.
That.
Yes, people... I don't understand how everyone can be so blind to this. Like, you should be so lucky that your own mother would go to bat for you like this.
My mom does.
Yes, my mom does too. Like, everyone should hope that their mother is as passionate as Mark Sears' mom is in defending her son. I don't know. This is. I would almost be more concerned if she hadn't said anything and just stayed completely quiet. Like, this is so. It's just such a nothing story. This is. There is no strife within the Alabama basketball program. It is a mom just trying to protect her boy. At the end of she says it right there. At the end of the day, he will always be her son. My mom, I'm a 25-year-old man. My mom still calls me her baby boy every time I see her. I'm sure Mark Sears' mom is probably the same way. It's just mothers will protect their children at all costs. I think it's a perfect statement, and it's a very beautiful sentiment as well.
All right, gun to your head. Did Alabama make Mark Sears' mama put that statement out, or did she put it out on her own?
I think she put it out. Because
that's the original group, the trolls that we originally acknowledged. That was their response as soon as she put that out. Oh, Alabama PR wrote this for her.
Whatever.
I don't think they did at all.
I really don't think they did.
Well, the reason I don't think it is because there's a couple of typos that trip me up reading it out loud. Not that that's bad, but like
no, but that shows
authenticity. I think
that shows a real person sat there and probably in one take typed that whole message out.
A little bit emotional, just cha cha cha. Here's what I want to say. Bam. NATO, it's on Hey Coach last night, saying Cliff Amore and Mark Sears had unbelievable practices today. Quote, if everybody had played as hard in the game as they did in practice today, I don't think it would have been tied in the game. Can we get these guys to give max effort every single night out, every practice, every game? If we get there, we'll be competing for more championships.
Now we want to talk about a little PR work. This is a little PR work, maybe. I think Mark Sears probably went out and had a pretty normal practice compared to what he usually does. He maybe had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, sure, but I don't believe that Mark Sears went out there and shot like 10 for 12 from 3 today just because he got benched against LSU, you know.
Is this NATO? It's telling everybody, shut the bleep up, guys.
Yes, I think
we're moving on.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's NATO saying, I'm ready to put this story to bed. That never should have been a story to begin with. We're playing Mississippi State on Wednesday.
We're moving on to Mississippi State. Just give the belt check.
That'd be good.
We're moving on to State. We're moving on to State.
I mean, it's not going to be a super easy game.
We're moving on to State. Yeah,
I was on the hump.
I was on Stingray's show. Well, I will be on Stingray's show tonight. I guess I was on this morning for our recording, and he asked me, and I was like, brother, I haven't watched a whole lot of State at all. I know that they went to South Carolina and really, really almost lost. They had a big lead. They blew it, and then they won in overtime. Let's see. Here we go.
I don't think they've been overly impressive against good teams.
Lost to Kentucky, lost to Auburn, lost to Tennessee. Look, I don't know if Tennessee's good.
I don't know either. Which, I'm not gonna. I don't want to play the ref game, but they did get hosed a little bit in Neville Arena this weekend.
Sure, they did. They did.
I think I don't remember who. I want to say it was. I don't think it was Zakai Ziegler. It was whoever got the inbound pass there, though. Right at the end, they just got yanked to the floor, and they called it a turnover or called it the travel. And Auburn gets the ball back, goes down, and extends the lead to win. But yeah, that was a tough one. But yeah, I'm Tennessee
defense is amazing.
Yeah, can't score a bucket to save their life.
Yeah, you're off. Tennessee's offensive rating is 34 in the country. Now, number 1 in defense, like unbelievable. 86 per.
Now 34. That's better than I thought they were. Honestly, adjusted
tempo 335. Slow. I don't. This is gonna come back to bite me. I know,
probably,
but I am not afraid of Tennessee. I'm more afraid of Auburn than I am of Tennessee for sure. All right, but we're talking about State. And I don't want to talk about it too much because we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Nate Oates is talking right now. You can watch it on the Bama Central YouTube channel. Our friends Kenny Wyndham, Hunter DeCiver, and Will Miller are in the media room. I'm sure they're at. You're going to get the follow-up question. Well, how was Mark Sears practice on Tuesday?
Sure.
He said Monday practice was good. Was Tuesday practice good, Coach?
I actually let Mark take the day off. He's just at his apartment
in the spa.
Yeah. He told me he needed a breather.
Mental health day. He's playing in 2K or whatever, just on the games. I don't want to dive into State that much until because tomorrow we'll spend a lot of time, but just on the surface level, number 23 in Ken Palm, 18 in offense,
okay.
Number 35 in defense, 176 in adjusted tempo. Their strength of schedule is actually 28th, so they played a decent schedule.
What was decent guard play?
What was the other thing that just triggered my brain that I wanted to look up?
I mean, they've got a couple good wins. I wanted to win against Memphis, win against Pitt in the non-con. Obviously, I don't think they've done anything really overly impressive in conference play. Now Vanderbilt,
we're 4-3 against Quad 1 games.
Okay,
we're 4-1 in Quad 2, and then 8-0 and 3-4.
As you should be.
Yeah. It's not gonna be easy.
No,
Josh Hubbard. You remember that Joker can score the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
LeBaron Philon, you ready to get your guard on? Ready to get your defense on?
That's what we're really looking for.
Will we see a little Darion Reed back?
I hope so. I think this is maybe the game where you really I'm not going to say you desperately need him back against Mississippi State, but I think that you're getting to where it's like, okay, there's some tough games coming up. We're going to want to get you back soon,
Tough games coming up. That's an understatement. That is an extreme understatement. I love you, Mason, but that is an extreme understatement.
I mean, this next stretch for most of the SEC basically is like ridiculous. The SEC is barely even 500 since the start of January. I mean, 54-54. Is that conference even real? They're terrible. Golly.
Who was that? You sent me that. Who was that?
It was someone within the Bama basketball Twitter sphere.
No. Who was? Oh, Griffin. The Rhode Island coach, right?
I think it was Rhode Island. Yeah, Rhode Island. Jacob Pickle. That's who tweeted it. Jacob Pickle.
Archie Miller. That's the coach. Archie Miller basically goes out and says that because the SEC is 54-54, what do you say, since January? In conference play against one of, like, this is a dumb stat. Because the SEC is 54-54 in conference play, that the league is not good. I'm not a math major, so this may be a really stupid thought, but this is the Joe Gaither show, so we'll just say it. If you're 54-54, does that not indicate extreme balance?
Well, they have to be fit.
Oh, yeah, duh. Thank you. Yeah, because you're playing themselves.
Yeah, they will go 1-1 every game, the SEC. They're playing themselves.
Thank you for making that painfully clear.
So he's trying to dunk on the SEC. The coach of Rhode Island, is trying to dunk on the SEC's strength by using the statistic that since the start of conference play, there were only 500, which they could not be anything else but 500.
Rhode Island.
Every other conference in the country is 500 right now in conference play.
Rhode Island, get your money up, baby. You're at 114 in Ken Palm. You have played the 196th best schedule in the country. Get your money up. Go play somebody.
How about you stay out of Nate Oates' mouth? How about you keep Nate Oates' name out your mouth?
Keep the SEC out your mouth. Archie, he's the joker that was like at Arizona that cheated, wasn't he? Archie Miller, wasn't he? Arizona, Dayton, Indiana. Yeah. Not okay. His career record is 241 and 169. Great job. You're 5-4 in the NCAA tournament. 2 A-10 championships though, 16 and 17. Great job, Archie Miller. Why don't you worry about your own conference?
Have you stopped scrolling Twitter?
Yeah. All right. That's it for the basketball. Let's move into a little football. Well, is that what I had? Yeah, I had Senior Bowl and I had best games. We'll get into the Senior Bowl in just a second because practice is getting underway today in Mobile. Before we do, we want to tell you once again, we're live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. You can find us off of McFarland Boulevard on the top, past the Tiger Rock on the left. Derek and his team will be happy to take care of you. Call them at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Home, life, auto insurance, renter's insurance, boater's insurance. They can take care of you. 205-758-3391. Red, Reese, and Victoria will be happy to take your call. I bet you Red's upstairs right now staring at his phone, waiting on you to call, because every time we walk in to say hello, Red's right there, just ready to take care of anybody. So we appreciate them for hosting us each and every day right here off of McFarland Boulevard. You can call them 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel and his team is there for you. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason Woods Senior Bowl gets started today. Practice underway in Mobile. Game is on Saturday.
Game.
Well, I mean, sort of. Yeah, sort of. I mean, there will be live football.
It's all about the practices.
Jalen Milroe. There's four. Jalen Milroe, James Burnett, Tim Smith, and who the heck's the fourth one? Tim Smith.
Malachi Moore?
Malachi's injured, so he's not participating. I looked at it earlier, and
CJ Dupree?
Thank you. That's it. That was it. Thank you. I'm like, why did I miss? All right, so four guys down there. I think Malachi might be down there just to hang out.
Just to talk to some folks, I would imagine.
Oh. Is Jalen Milroe going to work himself into the first round this week?
Not if his hands have anything to say about it. Old Mr. Tiny
Baby
Hands
hands.
himself. I mean, I think me and Jalen Miller have the same size hands. No, I don't think, it didn't matter for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett got drafted in the first round, didn't he?
I should have picked up on that at a press conference and just been like, let's see hand to hand here.
It does, potentially make you want to go back to some points throughout the season and think like, oh, maybe, did those small hands affect some things here and there?
Is that why the throwing motion was very dart-like? I'm throwing darts, I'm placing.
I think it's going to be.
You could not pay me to draft him.
No, it's going to be very, very hard. I think it's going to be especially hard at the Senior Bowl for him to get himself into first round conversation. Now he could perform very well, and very likely could perform very well.
That's going to sound like so much hate when people hear, but like it's not.
There's not really a place for him in the NFL. The things that he struggles with are the things that you're just gonna struggle. It's not. You don't really get a lot better at these things.
At this point,
yes, at this point in your career, he's had 5 years in college, 5 years in college, I think 4, whatever it is. We haven't really seen it progress at all.
Redshirt junior, 4 years. Yeah,
4 years. Okay. I don't foresee it happening now. Come combine, when he runs a really fast 40 and he looks super good in the shorts and he answers all these questions the right way, and he gets to talk to so and so, and you get the reports. Oh, Jalen Milroe scored a whatever on the whatever test. Whatever it is, that may be where we can start talking about: is Jalen Milroe going to work into the first round somehow? Is somebody going to sell themselves on drafting Jalen Milroe at 14th overall, whatever it's going to be? Sure. I just don't think that the entire national media and NFL and everybody is that locked in on the Senior Bowl specifically. But if he puts up a good performance, it's only going to continue bolstering his case.
Brooks Austin from Georgia Bulldogs on SI, one of our counterparts. We had him on at SEC Media Days. Definitely love Brooks Austin's work. You can follow him at Brooks Austin BA, I think, on the Twitter machine. He categorized Jalen Milroe as DNT, is what he said. He's a DNT for me. Do not touch. I love him as a player and as a person and as just like he was fine. He was fine to cover. He was extremely difficult to cover as far as a press conference would go because it's just cliche machine. And I don't know how authentic he was in press, but who cares? That's not important. It's not important. To me, for all the reasons I loved him in college, are all the reasons it's not going to work in the NFL. Everything that look, it's a completely different game. And his skill sets are perfect for college football as far as where he is. Now, never really developed reading from 1 to 2 to 3. Never. The throwing mechanics never got developed. The reading of a defense never got developed. But what he is as an athlete,
extremely valuable in college football.
Yes, very, very valuable in college football.
And look, I think if a team wants to go out of their way to create a package for him, it could be valuable in the NFL. I just don't know how much that's worth a draft pick on. Maybe you sign the guy as a free agent and then say we can, we need a 3rd and short. Oh, we got this freak athlete that's just sitting on the bench. Let's throw a formation together.
Right, he's very Taysom Hill.
Yes. Yeah.
Where the heck did Taysom Hill get drafted? That's a good question because he was not undrafted. Taysom Hill was from Kansas State, right? BYU, you're right. Same sort of thing. Taysom Hill was drafted.
He did go undrafted.
Undrafted. Wow.
Jalen Milroe, your future might be right in front of you.
I just don't know. I don't know that he's gonna move positions. I mean, he's not going to. I would be very surprised if he moved positions.
I mean, we've talked about it. He doesn't really have the vision to play running back consistently. I don't know that he. I mean, he's. I don't know that he really has the hands to play any kind of tight end, wide receiver role, it's just kind of weird to find a role for him. I've said it for a while. Taysom Hill is like his absolute ceiling in the NFL.
Praise the Lord, the Bears drafted a quarterback last year.
And, you can make a lot of money if you're a good Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's made a lot of money.
Sure. Look, somebody asked me, Stingray asked me today, will Jalen Milroe make it in the NFL? And I said, well, Stingray, how do you define making it? Well, is he going to be a starter? Is he going to do this? And I said, he's not going to be a starter, but he can cash some checks.
Sure.
And goodness gracious, I would consider that making it personally. Yeah. I know that some people are like, you got to win a Super Bowl to make. No,
I mean, I see, the former, cup of coffee in the NFL quarterbacks that now have YouTube channels and like break down film and things. People try to like dunk on them on Twitter all the time, and it's like, oh, you were terrible. You only threw 3 passes. And the guy's like, yeah, I was in the NFL, buddy. And it's like, that's exactly how I view these kinds of things. Like, you made it. That counts for something. You signed that, if you're Jalen Milroe, even if you go undrafted, hey, you make it to one contract, like you just gave your family generational wealth. That you made it in my book.
Yeah, 4 years in the league, don't get in trouble, and even if you're cut at the end of your rookie year and you never get signed again,
made a lot of money in that 4 years.
Be smart with it.
Yeah.
Don't blow it. Don't get in trouble off the field. And show up on time. Show up on time to your workouts and your meetings, and it'll be okay. And you'll make yourself some good money. I think Jalen will be drafted in the second round, but I do think that this Senior Bowl is a big week for him because I think that the off the field stuff, the intangibles that I do think are fairly strong, will shine through this week. People, I can fix him. They're just going to keep, I can fix him. I can fix him.
He will be people will love talking to him. Coaches will love interviewing him. Coaches will love the answers he has to give about, tell us what you do for fun, Jalen. And it'll be just,
want to know every day.
I help sick puppies out on the weekends, and me and all my friends go to church on Sunday, and then we feed the homeless,
What I do for fun is I focus on the fundamentals. I control the controllables.
Yeah, and then we head on down to the practice facility, and
I try to get 1% better every day.
He's going to answer every question that way, and people will love him for that. And look,
will they love him for that? Because let me be honest with you. Now that we're out of the season, I hate it.
I think the media hates him for that.
Dumb
NFL coaches and GMs love that crap. They drafted Mitch Trubisky because he drove a minivan.
Now, in hindsight, good. In hindsight, this is good. But didn't even talk to Deshaun Watson that year. They said,
the Broncos drafted Bo Nix this year because Sean Payton liked what was in his backpack. The coaches eat that stupid crap up every year. Jalen, he'll roll in with a binder and
want to know every day. Control the controllables.
Yeah, this is what I do. I start my morning, and these are my mantras. I read this to myself, and some coach is I need that guy on my JJ McCarthy. He got drafted because all that. Well, he's just so calm, and so he does his grounding thing every game. You know how much GMs ate that crap up.
Well, Jalen, get yourself a gimmick. Get yourself a gimmick.
You need to hire you a PR manager right now to figure out an angle. You need to ride it hard.
Do you care about Senior Bowl at all? I had somebody who was like, "Are you going, Joe?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, I haven't been as locked in this year as I typically am.
And y'all have the first pick.
Well, it's just because I know the guys I want. They're not there.
The draft starts in Mobile. So we'll keep an eye on what happens. Do you think Kalen DeBoer? Oh, I think he is speaking down there. I think we got an email about that. Did we? Because I didn't check my email yesterday after I left for Monday Night Raw. Let's see. Did I get an email for that? No. Yes. No. Right there. Yes, I did. Senior Bowl, he's going to talk today in about an hour and a half in a scrum. Wonder what he's going to say about Jalen Milroe, CJ Dupree, Tim Smith, and
Coach, did you know the whole
James
season
Burnett.
that Jalen Milroe had tiny hands?
Coach, did you know the whole season that Jalen Milroe is tipping the plays with his feet position? Oh, we talked about this on Sunday. You want to readdress this? So, I love you, Tony Tsoukalis, but I'll give you a chance to.
I did hear a little bit of this, and
Tony writes about that. Kalen DeBoer needs to take notes from Nate Oates if he didn't listen to yesterday's show and sit his best player. What did you think of that, Mason?
Apples and oranges. I mean, it's like you said. The football, it's just such a different comparison to make here with all of the to ignore the context of those two situations is like completely illogical to me. You mentioned it with basketball. You have a plethora of absolute dogs who are ready to play that point guard position. And we've seen throughout 16, 17 games this year that they can play that position. You did not have that at quarterback for the football team. You had Ty Simpson, who most of the fan base likes, everyone is unsure about, and those that don't like him are really vocal about not liking him. You got Austin Mack, who again, no one knows. Half the fan base still doesn't even know he's on the roster. And those who do, unsure about him. You got Dylan Lonergan, AI quarterback. We've talked about him who, sure, he maybe would have been okay, but it's just the most boring guy ever that the rest of the team would have not really gelled with. So it's just, it's two completely different comparisons. And, maybe from a philosophical coaching philosophy standpoint, sure, you can take something, I guess, but it's clear the comparison that was trying to be made there, and it was, should he have benched Jalen Milroe? No, he shouldn't have benched Jalen Milroe. There was no point at this season you should have benched Jalen Milroe. He was the best option you had at quarterback. It was just unfortunate that the best option you had at quarterback was not an elite option at quarterback. He was very good for most of the season. But, in some of the times when it mattered most, he just couldn't quite get it done. But that's okay. I don't think Ty Simpson or Austin Mack were changing the outcome of this year.
I don't either. All right, last thing for us as we're hanging out in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios on a Tuesday.
I'm just thinking about Austin Mack.
Go for it.
Not Ty Simpson. We've talked about him and, his propensity to leave a clean pocket. Do you know what he would have looked at? People that want him, that were, shouting for him to be put in, he would have been a deer in headlights with this offensive line this year. He would have been running, just sprinting around. Oh, turning back. Oh, 25-yard sack. Oh, we're on 2nd and 30. Oh man, it would have been nothing but that. And I like Ty Simpson. I think he could be good, but he's not. He is very obviously not ready. And to have just thrown him out there this year, that would have been a disaster.
Yeah, I think that many fans would have quickly realized, ooh, let's go back. Ooh,
and then that just tanks him for this season. If you want to have a good, fair quarterback competition, his confidence would have been shot.
Oh, lots of fun from the football standpoint. All right, we're going to finish with Bill Connolly. Bill Connolly writes for ESPN, and I got to be honest, more often than not, I hate his stuff. So I'm saying that there's my biases. We're walking into it with me. Usually when I see a Bill Connolly article, I roll my eyes. Does that mean he's not a good writer? No, he's a good writer. Obviously very professional. He's working at ESPN. I just think a lot of the times that his takes kind of suck. Maybe because there was some Bears take that he had that probably ended up being right about Mitchell Trubisky or Justin Fields at this point that I'll remember a couple years ago, just like that joker, I'm never going to like his stuff. So it's something to do with that, something out of line. Anyways, Bill Connolly rates his top 100 games of the college football season this year. How many different times do you think Alabama is on this list?
Total.
I'm in the 50s so far. I have at least 3.
I mean, we'll say 4. Can't be more than that.
Can't be more than that. Okay, so now I'm in the 40s as I scroll down. I just wanted to make sure before I take this off. There was one, in the 30s. There was one. Let's see. Come on, keep on going. There's the SEC championship. We weren't a part of that. Keep on going. Here we are at 20. Yeah, there's Michigan, Ohio State. Wow. It only was the 3, isn't it? Unless they have this Tennessee game in here, which they do not. Yeah, no, just 3.
Yeah.
3 games. Alabama participated in 3 of the top 100 games, according to Bill Connolly. And of those 3, 2 of them were number 1 and number 2 on his list.
Yeah. One of which is...
Was the Vanderbilt game the best game of the year?
No, it was not. I don't think that...
Was the Vanderbilt game better than Georgia Tech?
No. Was it better than the Texas-Arizona State, semifinal game? Or
right, that's what he has at 3.
Quarterfinal?
That's what he has at 3. He has Notre Dame, Penn State at 4.
Was it better than Ohio State, Oregon? Was that week 2, week 3 or something regular season? Earlier in the regular year.
We've got Georgia Tech, the 8 overtime games at number 5.
His opinion is invalid.
I still haven't. I'm at 13 now. Here's 13, and that's Oregon, Ohio State from October. 13. All right, I get it was a historic upset.
Sure.
I get it was like, what the hell are we watching right now?
How many people were even watching?
Probably not many until it got late.
Yeah.
I understand. Like, it's middle of the day. Who else was playing? Auburn and Georgia were playing that day. So look, he's got spoiler alert. Just read the article. He's got the Vanderbilt Alabama game ranked as the best game of the season.
Turn me up, Vandy.
I mean, it was absolutely historic. And you give Vanderbilt credit. This is not to take anything away from them.
No.
But just like...
It belongs on the list.
Sure. Top 20, top 15. Yeah. I'm just not sure it was the best game of the season, just from a football standpoint.
I mean, I can think of at least 3 that were better, and it was...
Alabama shot themselves in the foot the entire day. It wasn't beautiful football.
No.
I'm sorry. I think that now number 2... I think number 2 has a great shot. Should have been. He's got Alabama over Georgia as the second best game of the year. And I'm sorry, from a football, granted, the result was different, so maybe that's why I feel differently, that Alabama won over Georgia instead of losing. But think about it from a football standpoint. Alabama gets up big on big rival, big bad Georgia. Rah, rah, rah. Oh, wow. Huge surprise. You got your surprise factor. And then Georgia battles back, and oh my gosh, takes a lead. Oh, is Alabama going to Atlanta Falcons this bad boy? And then you get the miraculous play from Ryan Williams.
The 17-year-old phenomenon.
I'm sorry, that game had everything to it.
Yeah, that game, yeah.
Sure, Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, and maybe that gives the national media folks a little more of a mental boner, but like, as far as the football goes,
it was an ugly game.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
It was an ugly, gross game. Not fun. It was not overly fun to watch. Even like if you're just a football fan, that was not a good football game. It was a fun result.
That Georgia game was a lot better football game.
Yeah.
I mean, back and forth, up and down.
And like speaking to like the Georgia Tech game, like that one was ugly too. But that was 2 ugly teams, like uglying it out almost. It was not really like it wasn't just one team shooting themselves in the foot the whole game. I don't know. That's Oregon Ohio State was a fantastic game. I think I would have to give my number 1 game to Texas, Arizona State. Cam Scatabo going off against the Longhorns. And a lot of problems with that list. A lot of good games this year.
I usually, Mason, that when people in Tuscaloosa give me they just hate Alabama. Well, everybody's just biased. They're tired of us winning. Mm-hmm. And I usually roll my eyes at that because I'm like, that's not true. But articles like this make me think that it is true.
Yeah.
Articles like Sure, historic upset. Put it in the top 5. Give Vanderbilt credit. I'm not running away from it. But to put it at number 1 seems oddly ding dong, the king is dead, celebratory. Hurrah, look at Alabama.
Hey, everybody, don't forget this. Remember when this happened? Like, yeah.
I don't know. It was very odd. It's very odd to me. So it made me like, when articles like this happen, it's like, well, maybe you guys do have a point that the national media just hates Alabama. And usually I'm like, no, you're just being sensitive.
I'm with you a little bit. That one, it feels overly pointed.
All right. Obviously, the third one was Alabama, South Carolina. Let me scroll up to that. That was in the 30s, wasn't it? Just to make sure, just to acknowledge that, close the loop and finish this conversation. Alabama, South Carolina was 36 on the list. Which is a good game. It was a good game. And, like, I'm not going to argue 2 points higher or 2 points lower. I don't care. My biggest gripe was the Vanderbilt upset being number 1.
Crazy.
All right, Mason, anything else we got for us on a Tuesday? We're right at the hour mark. We got to finish this bad boy up.
I think that's all I got today. I did see right before we got on that I want to say it was the same guy, Bill Connolly from ESPN, doing his 12-team playoff for next year, has Alabama as the 5th seed, getting knocked out by Georgia in the semifinal. So we'll see.
Go Dogs. Wolf, wolf, wolf.
Got the Penn State as your champion in 2026.
Drew Aller? I'm not sure about that.
I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, not too sure about that unless they're bringing back Abdul Carter and that defense.
And then,
we'll see about that one. We got to finish up. We thank everybody for watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Joe Gaither 6 or on the Bama Central YouTube channel. You also found us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. This was the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.